Good morning, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of the First Family of Vegas Daily Free Picks Winner Show. That's right, guys. The First Family of Vegas show is coming to you every weekday on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, joined by some of the world's best documented handicappers and biggest sports bettors. It's brought to you by the best website in this business on the planet, your one-stop sports betting shop, SportsMemo. Guys, we're going to be releasing some free pick winners, some great betting insights, and have a few laughs too. So join us each weekday so we can improve your bankroll. We've got a great show, an intimate show, a very personal show. Let me bring him on, my good buddy Wes. Wes, good morning. How are you?
Doing good, Joe. It's such a great time of year, man. We got NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs. We got baseball in full swing. When NBA playoffs and NHL playoffs end, we got baseball, but we have WNBA. I actually do a lot of sports, man. I'm loaded in the summer. I have CFL, I have WNBA, then you have baseball in full swing. You're getting ready for NFL. So there's never really a dull moment all year long, to be honest with you, at least for myself. I have UFC every weekend too, as you know. But I'm excited to be here. And man, it's we got the weekend ahead of us. We're here to make some money, and that's what we're going to do.
It's just us, a big Yankees fan, a big Dodgers fan. We'll have some fun with that. But I'm glad you're here with us. Let me do a few things. Dionne's taking one more day off. It's not like she's taking days off. We're getting more viewers, more subscribers, and more people going to the website every day. Big part of that is the First Lady of Las Vegas, Dionne D'Amico. She's taking one more day off. I told her, you know what? We were going to have Dan Kaiser on the show, but apparently something's going on, a tech issue in his area. No internet. We miss you, Dan. He told me to tell everybody that Michigan State is really his heart and soul. I'm just kidding, Dan. He's a big Michigan fan. He will be back next week. We had Stevie Seagrave miss the show this week, but we've got some big people coming on. We're going to get that Tom Macarena on soon. We're going to get Ricky Tran on soon. We got some other people coming on. I'm going to have some of my friends coming on in the next few weeks. We're just finalizing some things with SportsMemo. I want to make sure they're okay with everybody that comes on and that everybody's okay with some basic guidelines. I don't care if people come on, talk about this, and that. I don't like bad-mouthing other brands. I don't like bad-mouthing sports books, things like that. There are people, and I want people that speak freely, Wes, but I don't, listen to me, man. I just always look at it this way. I've been around this business for a long time, and I always look at it as, I've sustained a lot, and I'm here, and my numbers speak for themselves, and I'm one of the more respected guys in the history of this business. I always feel like I'm on the set of Ocean's 11. On those new ones, not the Sinatra and Dean Martin, Joey Bishop, Sammy Davis Jr. ones. I'll tell you what I mean by that. The Scott Conn kid is a little nice looking. He stands next to the Affleck kid. He's not as good looking. Affleck's better looking. Matt Damon's better looking than him. George Clooney's better looking than him. And Brad Pitt's better looking than George Clooney. I always feel that I don't have to say I'm the best looking guy on the movie set. Everybody knows it. So I don't have to badmouth other people. I don't enjoy badmouthing other people. I do get pissed off like anybody else from time to time, and I'll give some examples out there, but I won't call anybody specifically out. I don't like to badmouth anything Vegas. This is my home. There are so many great things about living here. There are a couple of negatives. I don't need to get into it, but there's some guys, they just love to MF other guys. There's some guys that like to MF other brands. Some guys love to MF certain sports books. That's fine. I don't want to badmouth anything Vegas. I'd like you to speak freely, but I don't want to badmouth other brands either. I don't have to tell everybody that SportsMemo is the best. They know it. All right. You know why? We have so many great people that love us and a few people that hate us because we're so good. When you reach a level of success, everybody out there, you're going to have followers. You're also going to have haters. Arguably, without question, Tom Brady. And I hate anything from the state of Massachusetts, guys. I don't eat clam chowder, baked beans, or cream pie. I hate the Kennedys. I'll tell you what. I do laugh that they gave away the greatest baseball player ever lived, and they threw all that good tea in a harbor. But having said all that, I didn't like anything from the state of Massachusetts. I'm a New Yorker. I'm in Vegas. Vegas is my home, but I'm born and bred in New York. So liking anything from Foxborough is sacrilege for me. But I'm not going to argue that he's not the most successful and without question, one of the best football players that ever lived. The greatest NFL player to live, in my opinion, Lawrence Taylor, bar none. But I'm going to tell you, you're not going to see another guy win as many championships as Tom Brady again. And you're not going to see another quarterback lead a team to as many championships as Tom Brady. But having said that, people love to hate him too. They love to knock him down. Now that he's retired, he sucks, he's this, he's that. This was better. The guy won, okay? If you want a guy on your own 8-yard line with 1:10 left in the Super Bowl, down 4, 5, 6, if you tell me Tom Brady is in the top 2 or 3, then you're just a liar, okay?
Yeah.
Same with Jordan. Everybody loves to hate Jordan. The guy was money. I mean, yes, he missed a lot of last-second shots, and yes, his teammates hated him. Yes, he was a degenerate gambler and the cheapest bastard on earth. I sat at tables with him twice, and twice he refused to tip a cocktail waitress. And Wayne Gretzky twice, two different occasions, had to tip and go out of his way and apologize for him. But you can't argue with his success, all right? When you're great, you're successful. When you're successful, people like to knock you down. And I don't feel that we should say things about other brands or other cappers. You know, I let my reputation, my win-loss record, and how I treat people speak for themselves. And so I did want to get a couple of approvals, and I did want to run things by a couple of guys who can be controversial. So, you know, I'm not looking just to yank up ratings. I'm looking to get people to give good, solid content. I got a lot of friends that are ex-players, Wes, that want to come on. I just want to make sure they know, boom, boom, boom. Plus, some of them might be up or are commentators in professional sports. We're a betting site, and I don't want to hurt their income, you know. Never want to mess with somebody's livelihood. Having said all that, couple of quickies, guys. Dionne's taking a day off. She's still killing it, running hot. I mean, she's on a ton of individual sport and all sport leaderboards at SportsMemo. 2 big games posted at SportsMemo. She's taking another day off. I said, you know what? It'll just be me and Wes. We'll have some fun, have a few laughs, take it off. I actually pulled rank on her because we all know I'm the boss here over Dionne. She's in the shower. We can't take it back right now. And she definitely isn't hearing this. But other than that, guys, the First Family Show is on its own YouTube channel. Subscribe now. Like it. Ring a bell so you don't miss a single show, a single free winner, a single laugh, or some great betting insights as well. I did want to talk, Wes. Now that it's just me and you. There's a couple of things I want to bring up. First of all, I want you to know I talked at the beginning of the week about Game 2s in NBA and NHL. You know, there could be tricky, you know. Due for factors, backs up against the wall. That's more over in Game 3. And I'm going to tell you, I personally stood away from NBA today. Doesn't matter that I'm one of the best guys documented out there in NBA, especially in the postseason. I'm killing it. But I stepped away today. Game 3s can be tricky, you know. They really can. And in all Game 3s today, Wes, you've got, in 2 of the 3 Game 3s, my apologies, the first games played on the road for teams that are 2-0. 2 of those games, Celtics 2-0, playing at the Magic. They're laying a short price of 4.5. Pacers up 2-0 over the Bucks. They're getting 5.5, which looks like a dead trap to me. Lakers T-Wolves. I know you're going to chime in on this game later, 1-1. But let's talk about the first 2 games. I don't have anything on either any of those games. I stood away. If I'm not betting, I'll never ask my people to bet. Do you agree Game 3s when certain teams are up 2-0, it's kind of tough because teams got their backs up against the wall. They're at home in front of their own fans. It changes. Do you agree?
Yeah, well, look at Memphis last night, right? I mean, Memphis almost won that game. They could have won that game. In fact, if Ja did not get hurt, you can argue they win that game. Obviously, OKC, they won by 6, but that game was, you know, a 1-point game with 30 seconds left. So it was just foul shots in the end that did them in.
Yeah.
So yeah, 100% agree, which is why I actually I have not touched the OKC Memphis series at all. Not Game 1, not Game 2, not Game 3, because I had no idea what was going to happen. But yeah, 100% agree with you. I mean, your back's up against the wall. You're down 2-0. Very similar to tonight. We have the Magic down 2-0, and their back is against the wall. I do have premium plays on both these games on the side, but I will chime in on the total for both of these games. So the total is very low for Boston and Orlando, and that's because Game 1, I think it finished at about 180 points, very low scoring. That's because Orlando, they have the number 1 defense in the NBA as it relates to points per game. Boston was number 3 in that category, which is why the total's under 200, which you do not see in the NBA these days, hardly ever. But I do agree with it. In fact, I did take in Game 2 here. It was under 197.5, and I bet the under. It went down to 196.5, so I got a good number. And it wound up going over, you know, like 201, 202. But, you know, I got value in the number, and they look at what they did. Odds makers turned around. They put it right back at 198. So, I mean, they're not buying into the hype that the offense is going to show up. They think it's going to be another defensive-oriented game. I agree. I probably like the under there. On the flip side, with Indy and the Milwaukee Bucks, I like the over here again. Both of these teams run, and they do not play any defense. That's why the last game went over. I was on the over for a premium play. It was a big premium play in game 2, and it won pretty easily. Game 1, let me take I forget if game 1 went over or not. Game 1 went under. But I still like the over here. The over is 7-3 between these two teams in the last 10 head-to-head meetings. And both of them were world beaters on overs this season. I mean, if you combine their records, they were 84 overs between both teams and 77 under. So they trend over both these teams. If you remember 2 years ago, not this season, but last season, the Pacers it was crazy, Joe. These odds makers were putting the totals at 260. It was insane. And they were still going over. Like the first 20 games of the season, they were like every Pacer game was like 270 points. It was insane. Finally, there was a regression to the mean, and it wound up coming down. But the Pacers and Bucks run. I'm taking the over in that game tonight. It's not a premium play. My premium play's on the side, but I like the over in the Pacers Bucks, and I lean on the under in the Celtics Magic.
No, I do want to. Let's slide over to the NHL. All 3 game 3s being played this evening. Away teams are up 2-0. And I got to be honest. You got the Capitals as of an hour before the show, 120. All 3 totals were about 5.5. I don't know if it's changed since the hour before the show when I was prepping for the show. Capitals about 120. Hurricanes minus 165. Then you got 2-0. The Kings are now plus 120. Because Edmonton is minus 140. It's funny how the odds makers are looking. They're looking to trap you somewhere here. There's a bear trap coming on one of these or 2 of these 3 games because the Capitals are up 2-0. Montreal at home, dog, small dog. Big dog on the Devils, who did play a little competitively so far in this series, a little competitively. And then the Kings, they're an underdog. Why? They're a decent road team. They've got the Edmonton's number this season. I think they took 4 of 6 this season. If I'm not mistaken, don't quote me. One of those of the 2 games played on the road, they come in here hotter. I don't know. I think that the odds makers are looking to bear trap the general public out there. But these are 3 interesting games again. And even tomorrow, I mean, I don't want to get into it before we chime in today, but tomorrow you got a 2-0 at home, a 2-1 at home, a 3-0 on the road with Toronto. I mean, they're just dominating. Does Ottawa show up at all? Do they save a little face? Dallas 2-1 on the road, and then Sundays you got Winnipeg 2-1 in St. Louis. I will tell you this: I do support our local teams, Wes, and we'll talk about tonight in a second. I do support our local teams, but I did not like Vegas Golden Knights yesterday. I wanted to bet against them, but I felt like sometimes if I go against a local team. Like, I have no problem going against the Raiders and wearing Raiders gear while I'm rooting against them in my head, sitting on the Raiders sideline going, yeah, you suck. And going to my wife, man, they're down 31-4, 31-7 here. Oh, my God, we're getting 4. I've done that quite a few times. But with the Golden Knights, I want you to know, I really didn't think they were going to win last night. I didn't want to, because I felt like if I put it out, I reverse jinx it. I'm a little superstitious. I'm not going to lie to you. All right, I used to have a kryptonite with the Dodgers. If I bet them, they'd lose. If I bet against them, they'd win. With the what's your name, Fighting Irish, which luck of the Irish, crushed me. Maybe because I'm Sicilian. But then I went against them a couple of years ago in a bowl game with Army. Army crushed them, and then I went for them a couple of times this past year. I thought they were undervalued, did well, so I kind of reversed that. But I felt I was going to do a reverse jinx on the Golden Knights going against them. They would have came up big, but. I looked at the score last night. Dan and I were watching a movie. I said, well, they're in trouble here. And they were. But tonight, you got 3 away teams all up 2-0 on the road for the first time. Anything you want to talk about in NHL?
Yeah, we could touch on that for sure. First off, I do want to apologize to everybody at SportsMemo because I did lose my 5% play yesterday. It was a disaster. I was on the Lightning, Joe, and I was on the Lightning game 1 and game 2, and I just cannot figure this team out because Florida beat them. Obviously, Florida, they won the Stanley Cup last season. But if you remember Florida, they boat raced Tampa in the playoffs last year. So the Lightning had a ton of revenge coming into this series. They had played well versus Florida, and you're at home. This team beat your pants last year in the playoffs. You have all the revenge in the world, and you kind of didn't show. Monday, I kind of understand because it was a 1-1 game, and then Florida actually had a couple fluky goals they got in the back of the net. And then, Tampa kind of just lost a little bit of confidence, and Florida took off on them. I could understand game 1, but game 2, man, you're down 0-1. You have all the revenge in the world. You need to show up, and you get shut out at home. And I know it was 2-0, but, the last goal by Florida was with 1 second left. It was an empty net. So it was 1-0 all game. They had all the chances in the world to, tie that game. They just looked lethargic, and they looked like they didn't want to play hockey, and it just irritates me that I was on the wrong side. I had a lot of sales, and it's really, really frustrating. I know you've been there before. But, you were talking about, keeping your nose to the grindstone earlier and, not bad-mouthing other services and stuff. I just keep my nose to the grindstone. I have a goal. You have goals, too. You've been doing this a lot longer than me, Joe. But you don't listen to the noise. You look ahead. You focus on the goal. You move forward. That's why I'm going to kill it this weekend. I'm going to have to borrow your broom. I'm going to do very well. And, you're going to have bad days in this business. This business is not for the meek of heart, right? And I know you know that. So anyway, regarding hockey, I just wanted to touch on that because we're talking hockey. But, so I have a premium play on a dog. I won't mention which dog it is tonight. But regarding the totals, odds makers, Joe, and you know this, in the playoffs, the totals, it seems like you lose a half goal with the odds makers when they set the line, right, in the playoffs. Playoff hockey equals defense typically. That's why you see a lot of 5s, actually. You'll see a lot of 5s. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Carolina and New Jersey tonight goes down to 5 before puck drop. In regards to that, New Jersey and Carolina, they're both defensive-minded teams too. So, I could see that maybe going down to 5. The Kings and Edmonton, I do have a free play on this earlier, but I'll just touch on this. It's just been a fantastic series, to be honest with you. Game 1 was just crazy. I don't know if you watched that. I watched that entire game. I am an LA Kings fan too, but, I won't hesitate to bet on Edmonton if I think there's value on Edmonton. But that first game was just insane. The Kings were up, I think, 4-1 or maybe even 5-1, and Edmonton came all the way back and tied the game. It was just berserk. And then the Kings they scored with 30 seconds left. It was just very entertaining hockey. And then Edmonton could have won game 2 also. So, I wouldn't sleep on Edmonton. I know LA is good on the road, to be honest with you. LA is a better road team this year than they are home team. But, I wouldn't sleep on Edmonton. They, Connor McDavid, he has not won a championship yet. He is not Wayne Gretzky. He probably never will be. It's kind of a shame he has to play in Edmonton and live in that shadow, to be honest with you, because he is the best player in the NHL right now.
Okay.
But, the totals are always a little bit low. I wouldn't sleep on Edmonton, even though I am a Kings fan. I could see Edmonton actually winning both these games, honestly. And then the Washington I think the Washington Nationals, I'll get a bonus future out here. I think the Washington Capitals are going to win the Stanley Cup. I'm telling you right now, I think they're the best team in hockey. The Jets are a very good team, but I think Washington has the experience. I think they're going to skate the cup this year. And those are my thoughts on hockey.
Great stuff. I do want to bring a couple of things. Something came across social media this morning, and I really think it's cool. The best of the best baseball. Now, baseball's full swing, and you still can't say. We could say the Yankees are playing good. Once their pitching comes in, they'll be even stronger team. You could say the Dodgers, but you don't know for sure. I know you're a Dodger fan, I'm a Yankee fan. I'm bringing them up only because they're the 2 biggest media teams that are out there. The Mets are playing very good, but they don't hit so great. But I do want to say, records are records. And I pulled something yesterday. Records that few people feel will never be broken. Let me just run them down. Cy Young had 749 complete games, never be broken. Jack Chesbro, 41 wins in a season. The last time somebody had 25 wins was Bob Welch in 1990. 30 wins, Denny McClain, the year before I was born, 1968. Cy Young's 511 wins. Nolan Ryan's 5,714 strikeouts. I feel of everything, and it's not because he's Italian. One of the toughest things to do is to be consistent in baseball. It's such a
Joe DiMaggio.
Absolutely. 56-game hitting streak. And then after he broke it up on a good play on defense, what do you go, 14 or 17 more? Johnny Vandermeer, back-to-back no-hitters. Jack Chesbro, 48 complete games in a season. You'll never see it. You won't see that in 2 seasons. Leon Cador, 26 innings pitched in 1 game. Connie Mack, as a manager, coached 7,755 games. I mean, that's just crazy. And a good buddy of mine, we were horse racing friends. We used to meet every week on a certain day over at a local casino, the Palms, back in the day for years. And we used to bet horses. He liked his Quinellas. I like my win in place or a nice trifecta. Pete Rose's 4,256 career hits. Now, I'm not going to get into the home run record. Asterisks next to several guys that are above there. Personally, to be honest with you, I think, to me, still, because he did it in less games, was Babe Ruth. Hank Aaron, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think he could carry Willie Mays' cleats on the field or his glove or his bat. He went to a much smaller park that was his hitter friendly for him, so he could break that record. He also did a lot more games. Babe Ruth, to me, is still a home run hitter, okay? I want to tell you, some of these records, I don't see any of these ever being broken. And if they are, dude, you better check these guys for injecting performance-enhancing drugs. I mean, I got a friend of mine who wants to be on the show who says the MLB players are all on something way ahead that they're being tested for now. I'd like to think not everybody is. I like to think there are some goodies out there. I want to talk about something, Wes. There is an argument that today's players, first of all, are bigger, stronger, faster, throw harder, hit harder, are faster on a football diamond, are more accurate from downtown. Well, they didn't have a three-point line back in the day, and are bigger and stronger in boxing. I want to tell you something. I would say that training, rehabilitation, nutrition has all quantum leaps and bounds better today. And I will tell you that guys take better care of themselves overall today. I'm not going to get into the whole argument about performance-enhancing drugs. All right, but I will tell you, great is great. All right, I always hear this. Well, Alabama, Ohio State, whatever, Clemson, whatever the top team is that season in college football, they could beat the Cleveland Browns or whoever. No, they can't. They can't. They would get shut out because in college, only a couple of guys can run that 4.40. Only a couple of linemen are 3 and change. Every lineman, every player, you got fat guys to get on a 4.40 in the pros. I will say that overall pitching is faster, but guys can't go as long either. And guys aren't as smart as they used to be. I think great is great. I think Sandy Koufax would be a 20-game winner today. I think Babe Ruth, and people don't give this guy credit. You know, Wes, today, players, 99% of players use a 32-ounce bat. 1 or 2 might use a 34. 1 or 2. Babe used a 46, a 48, a 50, a 52, a 54, on occasion a 56-ounce bat, which is 1.5 pounds heavier, and swung it like a toothpick. And let me tell you something. He went up against some great pitchers. There is an argument that there wasn't blacks in the league at the time. I understand that. There was some great blacks that played in the Negro leagues, what it was called back in the day. And they should have been playing. But you know what? Great is great. You're always going to get great. DiMaggio, Mantle, Garrick, Ruth. You're going to look at, and not just because they're Yankees. Look at guys. I'm being honest with you. Pete Rose was the most ugliest baseball, not just in his face. He was a friend of mine, to watch. He ran like a pregnant moose. He had an ugly swing, but he was a student of the game. Tony Gwynn credits his wife for making him watch game tapes of pitchers way before anybody in the league did it. He used to be the first guy in the ballpark and used to be the last guy to leave. He would do batting practice before and after, regular batting practice, and after the game. These guys are great in any era. They would hit in any era. Rod Carew was a great hitter. All right? Charlie Lau was a great hitting coach. You can't argue with great is great. I will tell you this, though. Yes, the best heavyweights of all time haven't been in a ring in 40 years. The best heavyweights are Jack Johnson, Jack Dempsey, and Jack Dempsey, and Joe Louis. None of those guys would be heavyweights. Well, maybe Johnson as he got a little older. All right, those guys would be light heavies today, all right, so to speak. The heavyweight division, only because they could be 270, 280 now. All right, but I will tell you this, those guys will be champions in an era. But the other weight classes, there's only 1 pound for pound greatest in every sport. Babe Ruth, Michael Jordan. You can't argue with Gretzky. You can't argue with it. You just can't. And you cannot argue that the greatest guy to ever walk in a boxing ring in the history of boxing is Sugar Ray Robinson. There's no argument. If you're going to tell me Floyd, I know Floyd for 35 years. He used to come to my house every Sunday with his kids and eat pasta. On the same night that Robinson would knock him out in 2 to 3 rounds, he would then beat Manny Pacquiao and anybody else you want to throw in there. Okay? Greatest fighter of all time, Sugar Ray Robinson, hands down. Greatest heavyweights, Joe Louis, Jack Johnson, Jack Dempsey. They would not be, some of those guys would not be heavyweights today. But great is great in any era, guys. You want to talk about guys like Johnny Unitas, talk about Dick Butkus, who had no knees, but sideline to sideline was fast as balls. You want to talk about great running backs, pure runners, Barry Sanders. Come on, Eric Dickerson. You can't argue with great is great. You're going to argue with me that Emmitt Smith didn't deserve it because he had a great offensive line? Come on, guys. The guy was so hard to tackle, and he was a real great player. He was as tough as balls. Need you forget, Thurman Thomas took himself out of the Super Bowl with stomach cramps. Emmitt Thomas that year played 4 games against 4 of the best defense with a separated shoulder, didn't say boo. You want to talk about great, tough Ronnie Lott, who they said we're going to take portion of the finger, or you can't play in the or you can play in the Super Bowl. We take the finger. Freaking take the finger, dude. Come on, guys. Please. Great is great. These records aren't going to be broken, but I always want to talk about great. Who's your greatest, Wes?
Oh man, there's so many. You just touched on so many things there. I had so many things I wanted to say. But so Hank Aaron, he never hit more than 35 home runs in 1 year. I believe it's just because he played 22,
and he was in a very
years.
friendly park for the way he hit. Yeah. He went down to Atlanta, which I got to be honest with you, I could hit from both sides of the plate. I was better righty, more power, but I could hit for base hits anywhere on the field. I could place the baseball anywhere. We'll get into that another time, but he went to a place that was very friendly for himself. Am I going to say that for certain hitters, Yankee Stadium isn't friendly for them? Yeah. All right. I get it. But guys, you are never going to compare him to Willie Mays in any aspect of baseball. Willie Mays, the greatest all-around baseball player that ever lived. Babe Ruth, the greatest hitter. That's it. What are you going to say? Come on. I'm not a fan of Hank Aaron either. He was a crier and a complainer too, while Willie Mays did it with class. But talking about pure talent, I mean.
Yeah, with baseball, it's not the same game that I mean, I was born in 1980, so obviously you've seen a lot more baseball than I have. You've probably forgotten a lot more.
I ain't that much older than you. You son of a gun.
But it's just, the way the game's played now, it's, it used to be you get on first, you bunt the guy over to second, you try to get him in, right? Or the guy hits a double, you bunt him over, sacrifice fly. There's no movement in the game anymore. It's either home run or walk or strikeout, right? It's a very boring game these days. Also, the Tommy John thing. It's almost, Tommy John, obviously, he's infamous for having, the Tommy John surgery, and the surgery was named after him. But now it's like, man, if you don't have 2 Tommy John surgeries before you get to Major League Baseball, you're not ready to play. It's like, what happened? It's
well, I think rehabilitation, procedures, rehabilitation, stuff like that. But I think guys are in better shape before they get injured now, which makes it easier for them to rehabilitate. But I mean, if you want to tell, Greg Maddux, if he threw 90, his arm would be dislocated. He was such a smart pitcher that knew how to work a count, knew how to get inside batters' heads. Listen, I hear all the time about Bryce Harper. I think he's one of the most overrated baseball players in baseball. I saw him in high school twice. I went to see him twice. He was arguing with umpires about being called out on strikes. I knew if he ever faced Maddux would devour him. He would devour him. He would eat him up alive because he would get inside his head. If Randy Johnson would have been up against him and threw a 98 right at his head, first of all, I don't have a problem. I was a hitter. I wasn't a pitcher. I don't have a problem with a guy crowding the plate or even beating me for crowding the plate. I mean, with a guy throwing inside or even beating me. I don't have a problem with that. I think the game has changed. I also think NBA has changed. I remember back in the day, you had to pass twice and have at least 2 guys under before you took a shot. Now I see guys running up. There's nobody under, and they take a 3. And I'm going, why? Why? And it bothers me. I understand they're more accurate, but you know what? Take it away, Wes. Tell me your thoughts.
Yeah, another really good streak is the pitchers' scoreless inning streaks, right? It used to be Don Drysdale in the 80s. Yeah, I know this because I'm a Dodger fan. Then Oral Hershiser broke that record. I forget the number. I think it's 55, 56, 57 scoreless innings in a row. I think that one's going to be pretty tough to be broken, I believe. Another interesting one is home runs in sequentially in games. I think Barry Bonds hit a home run in 8 straight games. I think Don Mattingly hit a home run in 8
Mattingly had
straight games.
7 or 8 or 9. I think he beat the record. I think he beat Garrick's record, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me. But, I mean, listen, I grew up with Mike Schmidt, George Brett, Steve Garvey. I grew up with these guys. I grew up with guys that could play. I grew up with great pitchers, guys that, and then the complete games. I understand. And I want to tell you something else, dude. What bothers me about baseball isn't statistics. It's a groove and a feeling. When I see a manager yank a pitcher because he hit his pitch count, who's controlling the game, or let's pull the righty because the lefty's coming in, or right. Dude, it drives me crazy. I remember Girardi pulling CC Sabathia with a no-hitter. He had a no-hitter going. He pulled him because he hit above his pitch count. Dude, all I got to do is look at my catcher to see if my pitcher has any more stuff. Yeah. And that's it. And listen, no competitor wants to come out of the game, especially a pitcher. But if the catcher says, listen, you're losing your stuff, your controller's off, your fastball's down 5-6 miles an hour, you're not hitting your spots. Granted, I'll be pissed off, but you got to live with it because you really want to be a team player. But these managers do the same thing. They yank them. Listen, my father is a big baseball fan, but then again, he was born in 1932. He grew up in the 50s where for 20 years, either the Yankees, the Dodgers, or the Giants won the World Series. And he grew up with the greatest of the great. And he said the other day, he watched one of the Yankees. I don't remember who it was last week. He says, Joe, guy gave up 7 hits and 5 earned runs in the first 2 innings. When does he yank them? And I was sitting there trying to say, Dad, it's the first month of the season. He wants to see what he's got, how he comes back. But it's the opposite too for some of these managers too. It pisses me off, is what it does, Wes.
Yeah, you mentioned George Brett earlier. Another record that's probably never going to be broken is he flirted with 400 back in the day. I don't think anyone's ever going to hit 400 again, especially the way the game's played now, with feast or famine, home run, strikeout, walk. I mean, I don't even remember the last time a guy hit 350, to be honest with you. So I don't think that's ever.
Hernandez hit 344 one year. I think Hernandez did. Who I did know, who never met a little white bag he didn't like, and still came to the ball game. And no, really.
Yeah, I've heard that too. So George Brett, he hit 390. So but I don't think you'll ever see that again. I have heard that about.
You're talking also about one of the most competitive athletes in any major sport ever. The guy was just. Listen, I'm a Yankee fan, but I love George Brett. I love Mike Schmidt. I love Steve Garvey as a Dodger, and I hated the Dodgers. In the American League, yes, the Yankees, Red Sox always hate each other, but the Royals gave us the biggest pain in the ass in the mid 70s and the late 70s, and then obviously in the National League it was the Dodgers. Those hated rivalries, late 70s, early 80s. But these players, whether they were on teams that weren't your favorite teams, and back then, guys, kids would get in fist fights with other kids if they liked a different team. I mean, that's how we grew up. I mean, you like the Orioles, and it would be a fist fight. But you got guys that played. George Brett was one of the greatest players to ever play the game, period.
Yeah. I watched a documentary on him about a month ago, and the guy was just filthy, phenomenal third baseman, great athlete, wouldn't be afraid to throw a punch. It's like you said, man. Yeah, he was.
Him and Thurman Munson had quite a few battles.
Yeah,
and people like Thurman Munson was like one of the most feared guys in baseball. People were afraid of him. And they had a couple of fist fights, but they were competitives. They came to play every day. Some of these guys, maybe they were out there. I'm not talking about Brett or Garvey, who never went out. And he never said the F word. There was a joke about him that if he would be in a slump, and he went through a couple of slumps during the peak of his career, come on, Steve, say the F word. Say OS, something. And he wouldn't. And there was a joke about him, but these guys came to play every day.
You mentioned Keith. You mentioned Keith Hernandez, and I always like his cameo on Seinfeld was always pretty funny. But for a guy with a little cocaine problem, it's probably not a good idea to have such a big mustache because there might be some evidence.
There might be some in there. Yep, I got you. Let me talk about one thing. Wes and I made a bet yesterday. I lost the bet. I'm going to take him to dinner. If I can't get there this weekend, Wes, I'll take you Wednesday or Thursday next week. I'll take you to dinner someplace nice here in town, someplace off the strip. I want you to see a couple of local places we like. I lost the bet. He had who did I have yesterday? I had the Nuggets. You had the other side. I lost the bet. I don't lose too many on here, but I'm going to take him. I want you to know that. All right, let's get into some free plays. We did a little bit of fluff today, but it's just Wes and I today. So I just didn't want to give you free games to get you on out of here. Couple of quickies, guys. You'll see it going across the bottom of your page. Tune into the First Family Show every weekday for free winners, betting insights, and a few laughs too. Go over to the deals page at SportsMemo. Every single day there'll be new deals up. You could get some of your favorite cappers or even familiarize yourself with a capper you haven't utilized before on these great deals. We have a great deal. Ends tonight, Friday night at midnight, 50% off any daily package. Use this as many times for as many cappers as you want. Because at Sports Memo, we know that saving you money just as good as making you money. Before we go into the free winners and get you out of here in time to take advantage of those free picks, the floor is open. We are live, so chime away. If you don't like what Wes or I had to say about any of the greatest of all time and you think somebody today is better than one of those guys we mentioned, we'll listen. We're going to tell you why you're wrong, but we'll listen. Having said that, Wes is doing some great work over at Sports Memo. He's on several sport leaderboards. He's going to tell you what he's been doing. He's going to tell you what you expect from him on the premium side of Sports Memo. He's got a free pick winner. Wes, the floor is yours.
Yeah, we'll start with a free play. So NBA is the star of the show this evening. Well, we got hockey too. It's another great night of sports, honestly. But regarding the Lakers and Timberwolves, the nightcap, a very, it's a fantastic series so far. Regarding the total is very low, justifiably so. The first two games have been, lower scoring. But it's interesting. The last 6 times these two teams have played, the total has gone under. It's kind of just always a very physical game between these two teams. But I'm going to stick with the side here. I like the Lakers. They just seem to find a lot of answers defensively in game 2. I think JJ Redick is going to continue to preach defense to this team. The knock on LeBron and Luka is that they never play defense. And that is true. During the regular season, they have lapses defensively. But when it counts, they can play defense. They just choose not to sometimes, right? It's not like we're talking about old school teams and stuff like the old Detroit Pistons, man. They were all about defense, right, Joe? But it's a different NBA these days. And it's kind of like these guys wait until the playoffs to actually start playing defense. But they're playing defense now. Regarding the Lakers, they're 15-4 against the number in their last 19 games against the West, right? Because they're very familiar with the West. So they've been covering games, man. And, they had a lapse in game 1 and they got blown out. But I think that was a little bit of a wake-up call to them. And LeBron and Luka have been fantastic. Luka's been really good. He's been pretty much carrying this team first 2 games. And I think we get another all-out effort there on the road. They don't want to go down 2-1. They go up 2-1. The pressure's all on Minnesota. In fact, the pressure's on Minnesota this game tonight, too. So, you're going to give me 3 points with the Lakers. I'm going to take those points. I'm in my back pocket. I think the Lakers could very well win this game. It could come down to, a last-second possession. So I'm going to take the Lakers here. I have a pretty good feeling about it. Give me the Lakes plus the 3 over the Timberwolves.
Sniper West picking bookmakers off from a distance because they won't let them get too close. Just take the Lakers plus the 3. It's a winner. You will be too if you follow him there. Guys, he's doing great work at Sports Memo. But before we tell you what he's got on the premium side tonight, he also has a bonus free play for you. Wes, I know you wanted to talk about one of the NHL games tonight. Would you mind giving your bonus free play out?
Yeah, let's do it. Well, I'm going to stick with LA teams. Actually, both LA teams are on the road. The Lakers are on the road and the Kings are on the road. So I am going to look at the Kings and Oilers game. So the first 2 games have gone well over the total, right? And the odds makers, they hung a 5.5, believe it or not. I couldn't believe they hung a 5.5. It's gone up to 6. And I do agree. I just think there's going to be scoring here again. And I know we talked about, the playoff hockey being lower scoring and the lines being lower. In fact, I think the only reason this line is not 6.5 is because it is the playoffs. It's sitting at 6 pretty much across the board at most books right now. And obviously we've seen a ton of goals and both games have been very exciting, but I just think Edmonton, obviously, their backs against the wall. The Kings do have a great defense. In fact, the Kings are top 3 in the NHL in goals against per game. Fantastic defense. but they struggle versus Edmonton. And why? Because Edmonton is an elite offense. Draisaitl, McDavid, all their lines are really, really good, to be honest with you. And they have to show up here. They cannot go down 0-2. If they go down 0-2, this series is over. And the Kings have whooped up on them all year, too, not just in games 1 and 2, but the Kings kind of own them during the regular season. So it's basically all or nothing here for Edmonton. And I kind of do like Edmonton to win this game because they have to, like I said, or the series is over. To be honest, I'll throw another bonus play. I kind of like Edmonton first period, to be honest with you. I like over first period. I like Edmonton first period. And I like Kings Oilers over 6 for the actual game. But I just think Edmonton's going to come out shot out of the cannon here because they have to. They're going to come out with a lot of energy. If you remember both games, games 1 and 2, the Kings went up early. They went up big. I think the Kings were up 2-0 in both games. They were up 4-1 in game 1. They were up significantly in game 2. So Edmonton has to start fast here, which is why I like them first period too. But for the bonus free play, I'll go Kings Oilers over 6, just because the Kings are going to have to keep up with the Oilers if the Oilers do start fast, which is what I think is going to happen.
Great stuff from Sniper West. He's doing great work over at SportsMemo. Gave you a free play on the Lakers plus the points. Then he gave you over and the Kings Oilers tonight. He's got a couple of big premium releases over at SportsMemo. Wes, tell us what you got going on.
Yeah, so NBA has been a fantastic season. I'm actually doing really well in the playoffs too. I was 4-1 as of yesterday. I'm probably 4-2 now because I think I lost my NBA premium last night. But I'm doing well, and I think I'm going to do well tonight. I think I'm going to do well all weekend. I'm going to do well in the NHL. But the star of the show, as you know, Joe, is my UFC. It is always, it's been a phenomenal run for the past 18 months, to be honest with you. I'm sitting at 65%. I was at 75% before just a couple not so great weeks. But I really like this card. I'm going to watch the weigh-ins today at about 1 p.m. Pacific. And then I already have my eye on a few fights. It's probably going to be 3 or 4 fights on this card. And I think I am going to do pretty good, as Larry David would say. And I'll make sure to text you my picks, Joe, so we can both win together. You
got it. Sounds good to me. Guys, go over to SportsMemo after the show. Follow Wes. You're going to follow him to the bank. But more importantly, follow him with this great deal. 50% off on daily packages through Friday midnight. Tonight, midnight. Use code DAILY50. Get 50% off. Use it once, use it twice, use it for long term, short term, whatever you want. But use that because you're going to lose it by tonight at midnight. Speaking of deals, I want to talk about the First Lady of Las Vegas, guys. She is killing it. 7-3 run in NBA, 9-5 run in MLB, 5-3 run in NHL. She is killing it. She's got 2 big winners tonight posted over at SportsMemo. She has her 3-1 NHL moneymaker and her 8-2 MLB home run play. All right. I can't read her penmanship. I'm only with her for 25 years. She's doing some great work. I want you to know we never know who each other has until later on this evening. But use this discount. Follow the First Lady of Las Vegas, Dionne D'Amico. 50% off. Use code DAILY50. She's got a couple of big plays tonight. 3-1 NHL moneymaker, 8-2 home run play. Follow Dionne. I am going to take the floor. I'm excited, guys. I'm always excited. You know that? It's not because I am been puffing meth and drinking Red Bull. It's because I'm good at what I do and I enjoy making money for you guys and I bet my own games. And I will tell you though, Wes, last night I did not do great. I had my first off night. I didn't get crushed. I went 1-2. I lost the unit, but it's my first off night and as far back as I can remember. Right now, documented at SportsMemo, I've won 8 straight MLB releases, 7 of my last 9 in the NHL. Overall, 12-5, last 17 NHL, 15-9, my last 24 in the NBA. The last 7 days, I'm 14-6 documented on premium releases. I've won 5 straight MLB in the last 7 days, 6 of my last 8 NHL. But going back a little bit further, 16-6 premium release run at SportsMemo. Guys, I'm going to tell you right now, tonight's the night we make history. My homage to Sticks, Tommy Shaw. Guys, like I said, I've won 8 straight MLB plays. I've been very particular baseball this season. It's paid off for us. Tonight, we win big on the diamond. I have my 100%. That's right. My MVP plays are 5-0 this season, documented. You can look back and see the names of my games. 5-0. You can't argue with perfection, let alone success. Go over to SportsMemo, grab that. I am on a 7-2 NHL run. I have a big power play tonight. They're 4-1. They're 80% this season. I am doing very well. I don't release a lot of these. When I do, they're money. 80% you can't argue with. I do have a big free play tonight I want to tell everybody about, guys. This game almost was a free play. If the juice on the favorite here was a little bit lower, I would have made this release a premium play today. New York has dominated Washington, taking 8 of the last 10 meetings in this division rivalry. They come into this matchup winning 7 straight, while their opponent dropped their most recent outing. Now, guys, don't fool yourself by the Nationals' 4 victories over their last 6 games. They went up against 2 last-place teams in the Rockies and the Orioles. Meanwhile, during the Mets' current surge, they swept 2 very powerful lineups in the Cardinals and the Phillies. Both lineups account for about the same statistics. I'm talking about the Nats and the Mets. Both of their offenses, their statistics, they're very similar, all right? So this game is going to come down to pitching. What does that tell you? Without question, New York has a big edge here. Their pitching staff tops the majors, a team ERA of 2.34. They send Kodai Senga, I love saying that name, say it 10 times quick, to the hill. The right-hander 3-1 this season. ERA, anemic, 0.79. The team has won 3 of his 4 outings, and in all sincerity, they should have won all 4 of his turns, guys. He is allowed, get this, just a total of 2 earned runs and 22.2 innings pitched. Washington staff, horrible. 27th in the majors. Team ERA of 4.69. Today they have Jake Irvin on the hill. The right-hander is 2-0 with a decent ERA of 3.68 this season, but the team has dropped 3 of his 5 turns. He's also, guys, he's given up a lot of home runs. He's gotten plowed for 8 round trippers in just 5 starts. I just think he's really overmatched here, especially against the surging Mets offense, which has accounted for 33 runs scored in their 7-game win streak. Take New York, guys. This is a winner. Like I said, if this would have been $1.50, I would have put it as a premium play. But I'm not a guy. I practice what I preach. But once again, I've got 2 big winners tonight. They're both posted at SportsMemo. I've won 8 straight MLB releases. I got my 5-0 MLB play. I've won 7 of my last 9 in the NHL. I got my 80% at 4-1. I want you to think I'm like 16-4, 4-1 NHL power play. Get them both over at SportsMemo. And you will follow me to the bank tonight. If you've missed any part of our free plays, we're going to run them down again. Let me get some closing thoughts from Wes and myself. But first, please subscribe to this show. Don't forget to hit that like button, ring that bell. Don't forget about our specials on our deals page right now through tonight. This is the last chance, last dance for love. 50% off. I can't sing, Wes. All right, listen to me. Instead of sending me for singing lessons and voice lessons when I was a kid, I had football sheets in the schoolyard since 6th grade. Then I started working for the biggest bookmaking outfit when I was a teenager. Biggest bookmaking outfit in the tri-state area I collected. Yes, even at 15 and 16, I had already been an established boxer. And I think I got my first black belt when I was 15 or 16, 6 or 7 years.
So you're saying you were the original Rocky. He started as a collector.
Listen, God's got a great sense of humor. All us Sicilians and Italians, we can't slam dunk basketballs. We got no war heroes, but we're pretty damn tough. I'll tell you that. I wish I could play the violin instead of being good in the streets with my hands. I'll tell you that. But I started working with bookmakers. I collected the New York Post, the Fulton Fish Market, and the docks. Those were my 3 areas that I collected. And nobody was ever late. I'll tell you that, even as a teenager. But I've been doing this a long time. This discount is huge, but my father never spent money on that. He allowed me to work for the bookmakers. I'll tell you that. I got to have a long talk with him about, parental upbringing. But having said that, this discount is huge. If you don't want to follow Wes, Dionne D'Amico, myself, Joe D'Amico, then follow any of your favorite cappers over at SportsMemo because we got the best collection of cappers on the planet. Any thoughts, closing thoughts or comments for our viewers out there?
Yeah, I'm looking at the standings in Major League Baseball here, Joe. Is very interesting to me because we're 25 games in for the most part for both teams or for all teams, and there's really no bad teams. It's kind of interesting. I mean, other than so Colorado's bad.
Colorado.
We knew that. The White Sox are bad. They're 6-19. But other than that, all these teams are flirting with 500. Every team in Major League Baseball, they're the Pirates are 10-16, but that's not too far off. Cardinals are 10-15, but there's a couple really good teams, but all these other teams are just sitting at right around 500, which is kind of great for the game of baseball because there's really no bad game, on any given night other than White Sox games and Rockies games. Every single team is kind of in the and I know it's really early and a lot of stuff can happen, but really good for baseball, I think.
Some of these teams are still missing some of their big bangers in their lineup, and some are missing some key pitchers. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next month. I'm talking by the end of May when some of these key players in rotations and lineups come back. I will tell you, I was thinking of maybe going to catch a Yankee game, going to see them play the Angels, or even going to see them play the Dodgers. I believe they're in May or June, D. I don't know. We looked real quick about seeing if I could get some time away. I don't get a lot of time away. I own 9 businesses here in town, and I got to tell you, man, I never get a minute to myself. And even if I did, I spend 5 days a week at a senior center donating my time there, having fun. But I think I may. If I do, I'll let you know, especially if we go to that Dodgers game. We could have a lot of fun with that. We could have
my old stomping grounds. Going to have to show you all the dirty tricks of LA, man.
I'm familiar with LA, but I haven't been there with somebody who knows LA like you do, certainly. But I do want to I will take you to dinner. Maybe pasta. Let's do some pasta. If you want to eat pasta, I don't know. I know you're a big meat eater.
Hey, my mom's, well, I don't want to say my mom's maiden name on air, but I'll just say it's very Italian. So I got the Italian blood in me, believe me.
Okay. There you Well, hanging out with me, you'll become Sicilian. I promise you that. We'll go get some pasta next week, a nice bottle of wine. I take it to a great place I go to if I frequent. Other than that, guys, we'll run down the free plays. We'll get you on out of here. Wes had 2 plays. The first one being what, Wes?
Lakers +3 versus the Timberwolves, and the second one was the Kings and Oilers over 6 goal. This might go to 6.5, to be honest with you. So earlier you can get it in, the better.
Premium side tonight. What do you got going on?
I have a little bit of everything. I have 2. This is the only night so far this season I passed on baseball. I have 2 premium NBA plays, and I have 1 premium NHL play, and it is a dog.
All right, the first lady of Vegas.
Looking forward to but I need to borrow your broom one more time tonight, Joe.
Grab that, sweep it away, kid. I know I have full faith in you. First lady of Las Vegas, Dionne D'Amico, 7-3 run NBA, 9-5 MLB run, 5-3 NHL run. She's got 2 big plays today. She has a 3-1 NHL moneymaker, her 8-2 MLB home run play. They're already posted at SportsMemo. I have a free play tonight. I am taking the Let's go Mets. Let's go Mets. I'm taking the Mets as a free play. If this was 20 cents less, I would put it as maybe a 4%, maybe a 5%. That's how much I like it tonight. But I practice what I preach. I don't go above $1.50. Listen, guys, I do want to tell you, if I'm posting a game, I already did a write-up, and it was $1.40, $1.45, $1.47, $1.48. If by the time I'm putting it up, and it's $1.53, $4, I'll put it up. There's nothing I can do, but I try not to go high on that. During this NHL postseason, I did put up a hockey favorite the other night. I think it was $1.70. Nothing I can do. There's limited action. There's nothing I can do about that, okay? But I just want you to know I practice what I preach. If I can't get a game that gives me value on the juice, I just stay away from it. I'm not a hypocrite. I've got a couple of big games posted tonight. I'm on an 8-0 MLB run, 7-2 my last 9 NHL, 15 of the last 24 NBA. Last 8 days, 16-6 premium release run. I've got 2 big games tonight. I have my 5-0 MLB MVP. They're 5-0 this season. I have my 80% 4-1 NHL power play. Other than that, we're going to get on out of here, my friends. Tune in next week. We're going to have some new cappers from SportsMemo joining us. We may have, if I get the approval from the powers that be at SportsMemo, to get a couple of outsiders on. Maybe we'll get somebody from Wager Talk too, but some outsiders on, maybe some celebs, maybe some ex-athletes. We'll see. It will definitely in 2 to 3 weeks we'll have them on, but by next week, I don't know. I don't want to misinform you. I don't want to lie to you guys. Having said all that, tune into all the First Family shows for a ton of free winners, some great betting insights. We'll be back on Monday with an all-star panel and a few laughs too. On behalf of Wes and us, the First Family of Las Vegas, this is Joe D'Amico. Everybody out there, good luck and have a winning day.